I wasn't being a part of any kind of life outside of my back porch. It was just so closed and dark, and I turned my back on God. I felt like He wasn't there for me. I didn't know what to do with myself, and so more and more I would be getting lost in the alcohol. And I had always been using alcohol most of my life as an adult, and there would be long spans when I wouldn't use it at all. But for some reason, about the time my older children were finishing high school and kind of moving up, I just really got lost in it.
Hey, it's James, and we're here doing something new for us. We're calling this feature FPC Stories. Today, I'm really excited to have longtime member here and friend Lane Brooks. Lane has a story of God working in her life and bringing about redemption. Started out as a rough journey, I'd presume, but God's done a lot of great work, and just want to hear Lane's story.
Well, I was just not taking part in my family's life. I wasn't able to do anything keeping up the home, taking care of my family, picking my youngest up from school, things like that. And at one point, my husband said, you need to change or you need to go. So that's when I knew things had to change. I felt like that was the bottom. When you have to take things to your pastor, I felt like, now what? There's nothing, I don't know what we do from here. And working on my alcoholism, which sounds funny, working on clearing up my alcoholism, my recovery. I learned so many things that I should have known before about God being in my life. I had turned my back on Him, but He was still there. And it took me a long time to realize that. He was there even in my darkest hours. When I felt so alone, He was still there with me, holding me up so that I could get back to the life I was supposed to have. The hardest parts to this would be realizing how far down I had gone and how hard it was for me to bring myself back up. And I thought this was going to be just a hideous, awful journey. But when I learned how to bring God into it with me, He would take most of the load for me. These lessons, I teach Sunday school. I would teach these children about how much God loves them, about how much He loves to hear from them. But for some reason, I didn't apply that to my own life. But now, I believe that. I believe it for the boys and girls, but now I can believe it for myself. It's a wonderful gift.
What's it been like to have a church community to go through this process with, as opposed to doing it on your own, or doing it without people who knew you?
I have a wonderful family. I love them very much, and they have been very supportive of this. My church family. I haven't told a lot of people about this, but the ones that I have told have been very supportive, given me a lot of love when I needed it, when I didn't love myself.
I think there are people who are probably, who may be hearing this, who are dealing with their own struggles, their own brokenness, like you, keeping it to yourself, not sharing it. What advice would you give that person?
Keeping secrets, thinking nobody else needs to know, just makes it bigger inside of you. I found it made it much bigger in my head. And before I could tell other people, before I shared with other people where I was, I couldn't break free. And letting that sunlight in all the little dark corners made it easier for me to let God back into my life. When I was in that dark place, I didn't have hope. God is my hope. He's my hope, and He's always there. So even when you don't feel Him, He's always there, and He's always with you. You always have hope. You always have hope.